Let's create some text in GIMP. To do this, we're going to use a text tool, this A. The keyboard shortcut for that is T, so I'm going to press T. Okay, nothing much seems to have changed. You'll notice my tool options has appeared. Okay, let's draw a text box. So I'm going to draw my box, and this is where all the text is going to go. I can resize this at any point by grabbing one of the corners. Let's write some text. Let's say, hello world. Alright, so I've got my text. Let's look at my options. Now, I can control this from this floating window here, and I think I can click and move that window. No, doesn't want to play ball, looks like it's staying put. But really, I want to do most of this in my tool options window. If you haven't got your tool options window, Windows, dockable dialog, tool options. Alright, so what can I do? Well, firstly, I can choose a new font. To do this, we click on this little font icon, and we can choose any of them. GIMP is not great for font. If you look at this, it's listing the fonts, but it doesn't really show me what they look like. It only shows me what A and A look like. So it's not ideal. One of the things that is nice about this is that if you have a font that you like using, you can just type it into the box and it'll find it. So I'm actually going to use Rockwell. There we go, and it's pulled up all of the options for Rockwell. Okay, so now I've got Rockwell. I can of course increase the font size, so I'm going to set my font size to be, let's say, 72. There we go. And we've got a few other options we can use. To really understand these options, I think I'd better make my text really big. Let's make it like 300. Okay, right, now I've got some really big text. You can see why these options are useful. So, the first option I'm interested in is anti-aliasing. What that does, it prevents sharp edges. Let's zoom in so we can see some sharp edges. I'm going to go to Windows, Dockable Dialogs, and I'm looking for Navigation. There we are. This is a great tool that lets you zoom in, and when you are zoomed in, it lets you move around. Alright, so you can see here, I've got some sharp edges on my E. If we were to see that on our document, it wouldn't look very good. So I'm going to tick anti-aliasing, and it's going to do the best it can to soften those sharp edges. You can increase that by using hinting, so I can do more, or I can do some less, or I can do none at all. It just lets you tweak the anti-aliasing. Let's zoom out. There we go. Okay, I can also choose a color, of course, so I can go for a nice, tasteful red, and I can choose how it's justified, left, right, center, or justified. Let's drop it back to 72, and I can move it around my box. There we go. I'm going to put it in the middle. There's a few other tools here that you can use that it's worth playing with. This one is how indented it is from the left of the page. This one I think is a difference between the lines. If I increase the font size, we should be able to see this. Let's have 130. Okay, so this box is going to let me make a bigger gap between the lines. There they go. And the final one is making a bigger gap between the letters. All of these things can be really useful in the right scenario. The last thing you can do is you can change, do you want your box to be fixed, as in, do you want it to be the shape you drew it, or do you want it to be dynamic, as in, should it change size to match the size of your text. When you're happy with your text, you can move it like any other layer. Click on the Move tool, and you can just make sure you're on the right layer, and then move it around. If you want to edit it again, you can just click on the Text tool, click on your layer, and we're straight back in.